O heavenly King, Comforter, Spirit of Truth, Word everywhere present and fill us all things, treasury of blessings and giver of life, come and dwell within us, cleanse us of all stain, and save our souls, O gracious one. Now, I want to ask you a question here. How many of y'all have actually read? Let's go to the Nigerian bishops. How many of y'all have actually read what the Nigerian bishops have said? And how many times have you heard people say that the Nigerian bishops have rejected fiducia supplicans? I have a question. Why is it that when we read the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, they don't reject fiducia supplicans? They completely back it up. Why is that? Let's read together the document. It's not long. Following the issuance of the Declaration on the Pastoral Meaning of Blessings, Fiducia Supplicans by the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, we, the members of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, recognize our duty as pastors to clarify the content of the document, given the various nuances of interpretation that it's already been given. The declaration seeks to clarify the different forms of blessings that can be given to persons and objects in the Catholic Church, including the possibility of blessing persons, you heard that? Not unions, persons in irregular unions. Again, persons in irregular unions. Such unions include, but are not limited to, divorced and remarried couples whose previous marriages had not been annulled, those living in same-sex unions, those in polygamous unions, and so on. The declaration acknowledges and carefully distinguishes between ritual, liturgical, and informal blessings. While ritual or liturgical blessings are imparted according to the established norms of the Church, informal blessings refer to prayers over people who ask for them outside of the liturgy or any formal celebration in the church. The declaration offers a consideration of the possibility of extending the informal blessing to all God's children, irrespective of their moral condition when they ask to be blessed. Nevertheless, the declaration insists that the blessings of persons in irregular unions, let me again read that again. The declaration insists that blessing of persons in irregular unions, not unions, but persons in irregular unions, and never the union itself. Let me read that again. The declaration insists that the blessing of persons in irregular unions, and never the union itself, can only take a non-liturgical form to avoid confusion. It should not be imparted during or in connection with a civil wedding ceremony or with clothing, words, and signs associated with a wedding. This sounds exactly like they're saying exactly what I've been saying, because that's what the document is saying, right? But it gets even more interesting. Watch this. The declaration reiterates that the Catholic Church's perennial teaching on marriage as an exclusive, stable, and indissoluble union of a man and a woman naturally open to the generation of children, and emphatically states that the Church does not have the power to impart a blessing on irregular unions. Does not have the power to impart a blessing on irregular unions. It sure seems like the Nigerian bishops understand what the document says pretty clearly and are saying exactly what I've been saying, because this is what the document says. It sure seems that they don't have any difficulty in understanding what fiducia supplicans says, despite so many people who seem to be struggling with this. The declaration also reinforces the truth about God's mercy, for one to willingly ask for a blessing demonstrates one's trust in God and the desire to live according to God's commandments. Asking for God's blessing is not dependent on how good one is. Imperfection is the reason for seeking God's grace. Therefore, those in irregular unions are invited never to lose hope, but rather to ask for God's grace and mercy while remaining open to conversion. Now, here's the kicker. You ready for this? Again, we're constantly told the Nigerian bishops have rejected it. Cardinal Sarah says, I join with the Nigerian bishops in rejecting fiducia supplicans. Do they reject it? Let's read the last paragraph. In conclusion, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria assures the entire people of God that the teaching of the Catholic Church on marriage remains the same. There is, therefore, No possibility in the church of blessing same-sex unions and activities. Is that a rejection of fiducia supplicans? No, that's a confirmation of fiducia supplicans. Straight up paragraph 5 of fiducia supplicans. Fiducia supplicans also rejects blessings of same-sex unions and activities. Where's the rejection of fiducia supplicans here? It continues, that would go against God's law, the teaching of the church, the laws of our nation, and the cultural sensibilities of our people. The CBCN thanks all the priests for their accompaniment of married couples, asking them to continue in all they do to sustain the sacrament of holy matrimony and never to do anything that would detract from the sacredness of this sacrament. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Amen. We wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Where's the rejection of fiducia supplicans? Where is it? I'm missing something. It seems that everybody seems to know something that I don't, because this is not a rejection of fiducia supplicans. This is a confirmation of it. Where is it? It's not there. They're literally saying exactly what fiducia supplicans says. Straight up, word for word, copy and paste. No possibility in the church of blessing same-sex unions and activities. I'll read it to you again from fiducia supplicans, from not only paragraph 11, but paragraph 5. The church does not have the power to impart blessing on unions of persons of the same sex. The Nigerian bishops did not reject it. They confirmed it. But again, many people constantly say, but the Nigerian bishops and others are rejecting it. Again, I say, those who have actually rejected fiducia supplicans are in a minority. Most of the people that people are saying actually reject it haven't rejected it. And again, why is it that Cardinal Sarah says that right here? I must thank the Episcopal conferences that have already carried this work of truth, in particular those of Cameroon, Chad, Nigeria, whose decisions and firm opposition to the Fiducia Supplicans Declaration I share and make my own. Where's the opposition? I didn't see it. Seems pretty clear that they actually are confirming it. What they're opposing is those who bless same-sex unions. Well, guess what? Fiducia Supplicans opposes that too. Here's what's tragic, as one priest friend of mine told me. We had a gun to shoot at the German bishops who are dissenting against the magisterium. That gun is Fiducia Supplicans. We had this gun to completely destroy what they're doing. Instead, we took that gun and we handed it to your Father James Martins and your German bishops of the world to shoot at us, those of us who are following Christ's magisterium and Christ's teachings. We gave the gun to them to shoot at us, when literally it was a gun that the magisterium gave to us to shoot at the Germans. And instead of Cardinal Sarah saying, hey, look at this great document that rejects what the Germans are doing, he puts it into question, rejects the declaration, rejects the document, and then says, hey, I'm joining with the Nigerian bishops who reject the document, and the Nigerian bishops don't reject the document. What? What are we doing here? And how is it that a prince of the church is this confused? Moreover, let me remind you of some other African bishops that you probably don't hear a whole lot about in these discussions. When people say the African bishops reject, the African bishops, what about the bishops in Kenya who endorsed Fiducia Supplicans? I did a whole show on it. You didn't hear anything about that, though, did you? Oh, but the African bishops, they all reject it. Really? Nigeria, Kenya? And we could start to look at others and what others have said as well. And then you'll find out, in fact, it's actually a very small group of African bishops that have actually rejected Fiducia Supplicans. Many have accepted it. Some have said, well, we're not rejecting it, but this doesn't work with the laws that we have in our country. And Fernandez says, yeah, that's totally understandable. That's not a rejection of the document. Very few have actually said, we reject it. And then they reject it on baseless grounds, on straw man arguments. And by the way, I just want to remind you, make sure to hit that like button and especially the subscribe button. Help me grow this channel so I can reach more people with the content that you appreciate and enjoy from Reason and Theology. Are you a Catholic thinking about converting to Eastern Orthodoxy? Or are you a Protestant discerning whether or not to become Catholic or Eastern Orthodox? If so, I have the book just for you. It's called Answering Orthodoxy. It engages all of the arguments that Eastern Orthodox use against the Catholic Church. I respond to all of them. I show that they are in error, and in fact, they're inconsistent, because the things that Orthodox are objecting to are in fact found in their own tradition. So the fullness of the faith can only be found in the Catholic Church. Check out the book right now at shop.catholic.com for your copy today.